On Target and Inebriated is a podcast where guests are promised anonymity in order to share their stories. However, redactions will take place in order to protect the identity of our guests and the units they served in. Additionally, information deemed by the hosts to be sensitive in nature to the operational security of the United States military will be censored. This podcast does not reflect the official views or policies of the United States military. All right, On Target and Inebriated episode 4. New guest. Cool guy. Our next guest is a current active duty Green Beret weapon sergeant with 14 years in the U.S. Army. First chunk of his career were as an airborne infantryman, during which he served in Haiti and Operation Iraqi Freedom. He then reclassed over to psychological operations specialist, did some stuff, and a few years later, he decided it was time to go to the Q. He got qualified, and he's now fully qualified Green Beret weapon sergeant. Greg, how you doing tonight?
Good. Fucking sick, dude. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yep.
I noticed that we've been prepping for this thing for about an hour, which I have been drinking, so
Perfect.
we will
Nice
we
and
will
loose.
equate my over enthusiastic reaction to that introduction as you know, as kind of
You're well lubricated.
Yeah.
Careful, keep him away from War Thunder.
Oh, Jesus. Derek, Ben, how are you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Also fantastic, quite inebriated.
Good.
Derek, what are you drinking?
Good. I lost track of time, so I couldn't go get the normal drink that I was planning on. So I just have some Bacardi. That it's doing the job, but man, do I not enjoy it.
What is it? What does it mix with, Derek?
Monster.
Oh, you poor bastard.
What's your issue, dude?
I don't know. I hadn't punched myself in the face enough today.
My man.
Greg, what are you drinking tonight?
Okay, so I started out, so we went with vodka, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this to myself. So like, let's make a fucking cocktail with it. We had the shit here for a Moscow Mule. I fucking pounded that early on, and now I've moved on to these things I fell in love with in Finland called long drinks. Like like their national drink. They have it on tap everywhere. When I was in and then in I thought it was just something that they, it was like one of those like pre-made cocktail things that you get everywhere else, but no, this is like a thing. And I'm started on my second one, so
Perfect.
These ones are 5.5, but the other ones you can get are like hedge between 8 and 9. So I'm not gonna fucking get completely blasted on you guys. I'm gonna take it slow, and then I'm chasing it with some liquid death. So which is just
high quality water.
Yeah, just spicy water basically. So we'll see how long I can keep this fucking charade going, and how many times I don't fucking dox myself throughout this. So yeah, but anyways, for people who are kind of wondering what the fuck I'm talking about, it's like a citrus fucking soda, kind of. It's like grapefruit and juniper berries, and then gin.
That sounds rad.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That does sound
sick.
rad. I'm gonna need to go.
Sounds better than what Derek's drinking.
Yes, absolutely. That's a low bar.
I mean, when I first started drinking after I'd gotten back from Afghanistan, I had like no actual taste. So I'd just be taking like straight vodka and then mixing it with like Gamer energy drink supplement powder.
Oh my god!
And then wake up behind a 7-Eleven 2 days later.
Probably reminiscent to my story from Haiti. Or
yeah.
Yes, I would like to hear this story. You teased it before we started recording.
Yeah, so Europe, everywhere, they have these like little rental scooters you can get. You hook up to an app, and you can rent these fucking things and drive them all over town. The only thing that happens is they kind of meter them through historic areas, except for one. I'll have to get the fucking name because they're fucking sick. So we had went out drinking, and I got introduced to the long drink. So I started out with a couple cocktails. I was like, yo, these guys are going heavy-handed on the alcohol. Like, I need something different. And one of our partners was like, oh, you need to try this long drink thing. And prior to this, the Finns are very, very, very fond of their saunas. So like, I was fucking dehydrated. I was like a piece of fucking jerky after, and we had trained all fucking day. So we go out drinking and we start bar hopping. So after this, we're blasting down this street. I'm with, you know, a couple responsible officers and the troop sergeant major and a bunch of other team dudes. And so we're just ripping through people. I'm sure all sorts of fucking Finnish curse words are being thrown in our fucking general direction. So last thing I remember is watching one of these responsible officers just I don't know if this was like a barrier to stop people from like driving into this area, but he fucking hit it, went over it, and flew onto the ground. For the life of me, I remember hitting this thing too. I come out of my intoxication, parking the scooter that I thought I had crashed, getting a pat on the back from the troop sergeant major and the officer that I thought had died in front of me. And they're like, all right, man, have a good one. And I immediately sober up. I'm like checking my body. I'm like, dude, how am I not fucking dead? And they're like, and the partner's like, on drink, huh? Like, you know, like he just looked at me like first time, right? I'm like, you know, and yeah,
That's powerful.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, long drink is by far the most white girl wasted you could probably get without like,
Hell yeah.
you dude, like
Sounds like an excellent time.
dude, getting white girl. I don't know why everybody fucking everybody trashes it, man. Getting white girl wasted is the fucking way to go, it, dude. Like,
it's much more fun than just punishing yourself with
because there's dudes who are just like Jaeger, which, you know, mixed, you know, Jaeger rage and white girl wasted fucking GBs running through, and we didn't stop in like so was where we were at, you know, and it was a pretty big deal with who we were working with, because it would have been the first time that we had done anything, or the regiment had done really anything with these guys. And they're like, we had got the little like, hey, I hear these guys are fucking crazy. And like, we're hanging out with them for a couple days, and they're like, these dudes are pretty mild dudes. Like, they like working out. They have no problem with full frontal male nudity. It's like, it's okay. This is the like
cool bros.
They oh dude, they had the coolest fucking things. So they had forever ago, going backtracking, they captured Russian Mi-8. Is that the fucking transport helicopter?
Yeah, that's bad.
They gutted and turned into a fucking sauna, and it was
God damn.
sick, but it was like a nightmare at the same time. Like, it got hot in there fucking quick, and it was just like a lot of like, you had the bro heat in the middle of the summer. Like, it was just like, you know, and then they would just, I don't know what it is with people, but like, they can get fucking destroyed, and they're like in control of their faculties. You know, there are some like they'll look at you and you're like, this dude is gone, but like, he'll have a fucking normal conversation that he won't remember the next day. But yeah, we terrorized with them, and then they're just like, go easy on hell. We're like, what are you talking about? Like, but like, it's a huge tourist area, and there's a lot of old streets that'll try to kill you. Same like when we passed into fucking work, and same deal. The though, fuck, dude, we were hanging out with those guys. They were the reason why I like took a break from drinking.
Off the goop, you could say.
Oh my god, I had to stop drinking. I had to stop drinking for like 3 months after I came back from the trip. Like, I had never. I was carrying on, like, I was getting pats on the back, like, oh, you really fucking, like, you're really, like, broing out with these guys. And I'm like, I don't remember having any of these conversations. Like, they're like, dude, they love you. And they're like, they wonder, like, they're like, oh, they're like, Greg's resting bitch face goes away when he drinks, and he's really fun. And I'm like, that the resting bitch face is like my face is just like, it's ridiculous, and it gets pointed out a lot when we were at Sephardic.
You just look angry.
Yeah, they're like, is everybody having a good time? And then they'd like stop. It's like, I know, or I know Greg's not. Damn it, I did it. There it is.
I got it.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Greg's not. Greg's having a bad time all the time, and I was like, fuck, you know. And then I tried smiling. My PI's like, hey, you really want to creep people out? And I'm like, okay, first of all, second of all, like, what do you propose? He's like, dude, just go in smiling. See, let's see what happens. He was a dude from Temple. He was a dude from. He used to be in my old ODA before I went over to my new one, and he's just like, you gotta smile. Let's just see what fucking happens. And he's sitting up there like in the corner, just like, one guy was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, first of all, like, I'm smiling. What do you mean, what's wrong? They're like, I don't like it. You need to stop. You know, like, first of all, gross. Second of all, normal face. Like, something's wrong with you, right? Are you trying to hide something? I was like, no. He's like, then why are you being a
Everything you're doing right now needs to stop.
It's like, okay, so are you being a fucking smartass or something? Like what's going on? I was like, no, I'm just smiling. I was like, well, stop doing it. I don't like it. You know, like, and then I got called out in the shoot house. They're like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I'm smiling. What do you mean? It's like, stop fucking doing it. You're creeping us the fuck out. But yeah, no. So when you said, like, backtracking a little bit, when you were like, oh, and you wake up fucking after your blackout behind the 7-Eleven, I walked into my fucking the lobby of the hotel, and I felt like we were gone. Like, it was, so we left after the training day. So, like, generally, like, 2 or 3, you know, that's just what it is for everybody that I've noticed. Like, there's no, like, oh, hey, it's 17 and we got like 4 hours left of our fucking workday. You know, it's like, train, come and die in the sauna with us, and then, like, let's go out to how, you know, how many people don't end up, you know, with I don't know if they had gendarmes or whatever, but, you know. But you know, I lost like a good portion of my life during that time. I don't even know. They're like, yeah, you were great. We rode around. We did X, Y, and Z. We went to the Granny Tunnel, which is apparently like a bar club, like, where cougars go and try to pick up like young foreign dudes. And they're like, it was just, and then there was like a strip club, and I'm like, I don't remember any of these things. Like, how, like, yeah, man, you just, like, you'd hit the bar, you'd say long drink, and then that was it. I'm like, this isn't even who I am. What kind of monster did you people turn me into?
It's just a beverage that cost you 50% of the time you spent.
Oh yeah, and it's like a casual drink. It's like you losing your mental capacity off of like Bud Light, you know, or Bud Light Lime, or whatever the fuck, the Lime-A-Ritas or whatever. I mean, that's, I know it doesn't. They're not the same. There's no history behind Bud Light Lime-A-Ritas. There is long drink, like a big. Oh,
there's a long history of DUIs behind just regular Bud Light. So.
Yeah, so what surprised me is you can get a DUI overseas on those fucking scooters because they're a motorized vehicle and you're intoxicated. And there are certain vendors that do not slow down when you enter historical areas. Like in like one of the oldest cities and there would be some companies, Lime, I'm looking at you, that would be real buzzkills and kill like your top speed when you'd hit like the outskirts of an old castle or some shit like that. And then there'd be other ones who are just like, if they die, they die. You know, it's like, but yeah.
They have their credit card on file. Fuck it.
Yeah. So I was the next morning. One of the scooters that was registered to us in the group. So the hotel we were at was next to a lake, a river. Can't remember.
I was about to say, was it found in a river?
It was in the middle of a river, like, and it was still transmitting that, like, it was available for purchase. So I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Who parked in the middle of the, like, I was like, this has to be us. There's no way. Like, I don't remember crashing. Did we hide something? Did, like, the echoes?
My socks wet?
Yeah. No one's wet. No one did any swimming last night. No one died. So, like, how did one of our fucking scooters end up in the middle? Like, it wasn't even on the side. It was in the middle. And I'm like,
was it underwater or was it
underwater,
just like...
dude? It was a submarine, basically. Like, you could, you know.
That's fantastic.
I don't.
Goddamn waterproof technology, snitching all the goddamn time.
Yeah. Well.
Whoa.
Yeah. But yeah. So.
This used to be a nice place where you could throw scooters in the lake without recourse.
Yeah. Good. Oh. Yeah, so the long drink is a fucking thing they made after World War II when there wasn't like a ton of alcohol in. So this is like what brought them back into.
We're bringing alcoholism back, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna hide it in all this grapefruit and hope for the best, guys. But yeah, that's...
Okay, so that's... I was gonna say that's a solid 20 minutes on a particular beverage. Do you want to get started on the beginning of your career?
Oh yeah, yeah, we can do that. I guess that's actually the reason why you brought me on. Okay, so in 2000, well, okay, so the story kind of starts a lot earlier. Back in 2007, end of 2006, I tried to join the Marines. The Navy did not want to pay for. So I had asthma when I was a kid. Generally, that pretty much disqualifies you. First of all, asthma never really goes away. But everybody likes to pretend like, oh, I don't see symptoms anymore. So it's like, you know, no harm, no foul. If it shows up during like a gas chamber, we'll deal with it then. But the Navy did not want to pay for it, and for some reason there was an Army recruiter in the station, and he was like, "We'll pay for it." I was like, "I'm going with them." So I did a delayed entry with them to kind of finish up. I thought like I was doing myself a favor, like finishing up some college stuff, like the initial things, classes. But, you know, like looking back at it, I was like, man, I should have just like chose one thing or the other. You know, it was like money I didn't have to pay. But I did the whole...
Derek, how was your fucking experience in college?
Oh, great investment. Worth every penny.
Well, yeah.
Common story.
Yeah. So, yeah, did the basic trading thing. I got in. I ended up at, I mean, I can say it. Everybody knows a fucking 82nd. So I ended up at, great old time.
We're just gonna bleep individual units then.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna say what company I was in, but like you could kind of correlate with the Haiti thing because we were the ones who, you know, we were like the only ones who went because we were on global response during that time. So I hung out for a little bit, you know, learned to be a rifleman and did all those fucking fun things. We got called to Haiti. We dealt with humanitarian assistance after that really big earthquake they had back in 2010. It was a rough time because like we were there. What we did specifically was like we were in charge of defending a field hospital that was away from the main area, and like they were just like it was initially like where people would go to get like amputations and shit, and
Oof.
and yeah, so that was happening in like a tent outside of where our sleeping area was, which was
Gross.
pretty awesome because like they put the tents, it was like the military like tents, but it was on top of
Drash
grass.
tents or GP mediums or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. It would have been like, but they were like surgical tents. I don't know if they had like I'd never seen these types of tents, but they were military. And it was really gross because we had to go in there and fucking help certain things. But like when it would rain, they had put these tents on top of like this grassy area that was in their courtyard, so it was like the ground was fucking soft all the time. And it wasn't like when the Haitians who were working there would wash out the area, they just like hit it with water and it just go run out into the grass. Yeah, so it was like the runoff in the middle of that area. Underneath it was like that, all of our bathing water and shit like that was pretty fucking awesome. So
Nice.
no bullshit.
Civil War battlefield type
Yeah.
shit.
So like no shit, there I was, fucking Specialist Greg, sitting on guard, and this Haitian worker comes out and starts burning something in front of the guard tower. So like the reason why we were on this guard tower is because like around these areas, these like huge tent cities would like emerge. So like we were just there minding our own business, and this guy starts a burn pit, and we're like, okay, this guy's like burning documents, sick. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've never smelt documents that were burning that smelt kind of like that like sweet smell that like pork has when it starts burning.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we're like, we call up as like, hey, I don't
Who's
know if these guys
cooking?
are burning, but it's for sure not paperwork. So one of our
Smells
They having
far
a
too
barbecue
delicious.
out there. I don't know what they're cooking though.
one of our NCOs starts walking over and he looks at me. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, who is like? We were like, it's like, who is cooking right now? And we're like, we start pointing down at this fucking burn pit that is literally right below where we are hanging out. And as soon as he looks over the edge of this burn pit, a fucking bag burst open, and you probably, I don't know if you're gonna want to fucking beep this or not, but a fucking, a amputated breast just pops out of the top of this fucking thing, and
Oh my god.
literally bursts due to the heat. And then there's like a fucking arm underneath it, and I was just like, well, like I just
I'm
saw
scarred
that.
for life.
And the day before, and I thought my mind was already fucked up because like when we were on guard, the police were like at war with each other, and during this time frame, and like we from our gate, because of the rules of engagement, were like watched a fucking execution of dudes like right outside the fucking gate. They laid the dudes out
Holy
on the
shit.
ground, and they just fucking capped the fuck out of them. And then we had to haul those, like we had to haul those bodies in so that they could sit in the open air morgue that was also in our compound, which was also great.
Oh.
And I was just like, okay, cool. Like my mind is all fucked up now. Like there's nothing that could top that. Well, the fucking barbecue definitely topped that.
That's awful.
It was dude, Haiti was bad. Cause like, so they made all their houses out of fucking cinder block and shit like that. There's like no real construction. Yeah, outside of like the really rich areas, which people would go to for the resort, which was like it was like a completely different world. So like there was a time where we'd have to like help dig bodies out of the rubble and all that other shit. And I'm really harshing everybody's buzz right now. And then I'd seen the first time I had seen a fucking witch doctor ever. Like I was like,
Those are real?
they're real. That's what I fucking said. So there was this fucking guy that would stay. So the Haitians really loved us for being there. You know, and then Sean Penn and all those people were gonna quickly ruin it after that. Um, but yeah, he was covered in human ash, we found out, and he would pray for us in our protection because we would
Man,
still
that dude's
be
cool.
experiencing aftershocks, and like while they were
Yeah.
still happy with us, you know, I mean, we left and it was okay. Everybody got really sad when 82nd had to pick up and leave because we were the only American presence there. They didn't want to talk to the French for obvious reasons. If you know your history,
Yeah, French people.
yeah. Well, so the
I mean, I
French,
don't want
the
to talk to
French
the
are the
French.
reason why Haiti is the way that it is. Not
Yeah.
poor, but the reason why the population is kind of there. So there was that whole historical thing. Like the French were trying to help, but like you can only do so much with all that historical hatred. You know, Afghanistan, Iraq, looking at you. But yeah. And then the Brazilians showed up for some fucking reason. And then, dude, Haiti was the fucking Wild West. Like, if you could, like, there would be drive-bys on the Brazilians who would park, like, they would try to not get their APC shot at. Like,
Also, it's just like home for the Brazilians.
yeah, so they would park their APCs out in front of our area, and then, like, I'm gonna back up again. So when the earthquake happened, there was a huge prison, right? Like their main central prison. Well, the wall that was keeping them in collapsed. Not the building, just that wall. So they got out. On the other side of the wall was the police armory.
Bro, they hit a loot box the second they walked out.
There are dudes that we don't know are cops with cop gear and weapons running around fucking Haiti doing all sorts of fucking shit, which is why the gang problem is so bad there right now. In my opinion, is like the earthquake basically armed these guys and said fucking go for it. And so they would drive by and shoot at the fucking Brazilians, and some rounds would not hit the APCs and like rip through our entire encampment and hit the ocean. So it's like, yo, like our command team was like, okay, cool. Is there like, can we go back to this place that we, where the, body parts were burning, and like go defend that again? Because I'm sure they need help. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. Oh, by the way, it's no longer like a field hospital because like all those airlifts you did to that floating hospital ship that like you guys stopped at. Now it's a AIDS center.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, AIDS, not aid?
AIDS, yeah.
Oh.
So like,
It's like the magical disease that came from monkeys in the 1980s.
So like,
that S makes a big difference in what kind of facility it is.
And like the mosquito population had really fucking kicked up.
Ooh.
So we're like, they're throwing doxycycline down our throats because they're like, that's the magical drug that kills everything, but we're gonna put it inside you and hope for the best. And then
oh, so you got those fantastic wacky dreams?
Oh, bro, yes, yeah, dude. I woke up swimming in my own fucking sweat. I don't even. It was fucking nasty. And then like the mosquitoes.
But your skin is impeccable.
Yeah, the mosquitoes over there don't fuck. So it's like they're like where the origin of they're like those. I don't know if you guys any of y'all who've been to the fucking south with those like zebra mosquitoes that fucking popped up in the area.
Ones that'll carry your dog off.
Yeah. So these things would like they wouldn't care to be quiet, nor would they care to like bite you, incognito. They'd just be like you'd be
no, they'll hold you down.
And then like you'd feel a pinprick in your fucking neck and you'd just be like, motherfucker. These things would sit on top of the mosquito nets and wait for you to get out of your fucking, like, you done zip
Oh
it.
my god.
So you'd like have to
They're
grab your legs,
predatory.
and they'd just be sitting there like waiting for you because like they're attracted to your body heat. So there was one night when we got a pretty decent aftershock, and like I was like half asleep, and like all of a sudden I feel the building like swaying. There was a dude who, I forget what medicine, like why he was being medicated, but like he was like zonked out of his fucking mind, and he had gotten caught in his mosquito net while the building was fucking shaking, and you could hear him just losing his mind. Like he had, like someone had thrown a net on him, and he was just like, that was it. Like apparently somebody had watched him emerge from that thing. Like he like did a praying hands, like emerged from it, and then I remember, because I was terrified, so like of course my reaction at the time was to fucking laugh my ass off, because like, you know, there's no shortage of dark humor. And of course, like, I'm about to die. This is hilarious. I see this dude like bumping into everything with a cot with a mosquito net tied down to it, tied around his legs as he's trying to run. And I fell over laughing. I had to get drug out. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then we looked over, and like they were trying to wrestle this thing off his leg. You know, like kind of like when your like dog gets caught, like if you have a really wiry dog and something like gets caught on him and you're like chasing him around. It's kind of the same fucking thing, but yeah, that's how that was. So that was Haiti. A lot.
Very badass time.
Oh, dude, and this was over the span of like 4 months. Like, and those are just some of the things that like were most memorable. It was during my time there. I got scoffed at by Sean Penn, which was nice. He was there, you know.
Cool, thank you, Sean Penn.
He was there at that hospital looking for, you know, children to abduct, allegedly. And I was like, oh, nice to meet you, sir. And he like kind of looked at me and scoffed and kept going on about his way, because there was some general, of course. So I immediately was just like, I fucking hate Sean Penn. Like, Sean Penn is like I don't know if you guys have
Dead to
seen
me.
MacGruber, but like he's my fucking license plate guy. And then bumped into former President Clinton. He was probably there hiding from Hillary, if I were to surmise.
I mean, Haiti sounds like a better place than at home with her.
Yeah. And then who else?
Get me away from that horrible bitch.
Yeah. And there was some fucking UFC cat I can't remember, and then either Dallas's or Miami's cheerleading squad. They decided to just like shove down everyone's throat, like right at the end of the fucking deployment as everyone was leaving. I was like, this is a good idea. A bunch of dudes who have not seen women in a long time. I've seen some really like weird things, and I'm just like, yo, okay, like this is gonna go well. But
What's the worst that can
yeah.
happen?
But yeah, like every other USO tour ever that's, you know, quote unquote not gone awry. What else? Yeah, Haiti was. So when they briefed us about Haiti, I guess I'm gonna backtrack again. So like, we went into it with some really weird preconceived notions, because like the earthquake had happened, and then it was a couple weeks before they actually deployed us. And they were talking about like how people were going to be in like a weird state, because like due to the starvation, like their bodies would start, since their like body fat was nothing, like the body would start eating at like the frontal cortex, which I guess is like the fattier part of the brain. And like they were starting to, like, they may act like this. And we're sitting there, me being a very impressionable fucking specialist at the fucking time, and my brand new E5 team leader, like we're sitting there and listening to the way these people could act, and my team leader kind of like stops and like leans over. He's like, so what they're saying is zombies. And I was like, I looked over at him like, are you fucking with me right now? And they kept naming off things. We're like, oh shit. zombies. Like we're gonna be fighting
These
zombies.
people are zombies.
Yeah. This was also ironically the same year that the second 28 Days Later had come out, which also had the 82nd Airborne responding in a global response force type of way. And I was like, dude, there's no fuck like, and then we had watched it throughout Haiti. We had watched that what was it, an hour and 20 minutes of irony multiple times during that, and we're like where we're
Oh,
sitting there
this is
like,
it.
where the fuck are our zombies? Like what? Like we were promised zombies when we fucking got here, and none of them have shown up.
You were disappointed there weren't any zombies?
Yeah.
This was
All we
like
got
magical
all we
early
got were
2010s
names.
period.
Yeah, all we got
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It were zombies and bacon and fucking it's just that magical early 2010s period
Yeah.
where it's just like everybody zombies. There's a biohazard EOTech that you can buy. Fucking everything is zombie green.
Dude. I think somebody had bought one of those and put it on their gun.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh yeah, this dude was like one of those guys that like had his pick of knives every time he left the house. You know, like his everyday carry was like, you never know when something bad's gonna go down. It's like, dude, we're at Home Depot. Like, calm down.
Why are you open carrying 2 fucking J-frame revolvers? Get out of here.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was Haiti. We came back for a little while longer, and then we responded to Iraq. Between Haiti and Iraq, I got selected to go to. I don't know if they're still doing it. I doubt it. The 82nd was trying to like switch up the way that they do things, and they brought designated marksmen back. I don't know if you guys know like the legality with designated marksmen, but like unless you were getting shot at, you had to wait for an approval that like a school trained sniper did not have to wait for. So like there were a bunch of missed opportunities.
That's weird.
Oh yeah, designated marksman was purely defensive. Like sure did situations pop up that I had to engage things with not my M110 but my Mark 14. Yeah.
Oh, you had the EBR, baby.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't start with it though. Those got changed halfway through our deployment. We went in there with the old Woodstocks, dude. I was walking in
Hell
with
yeah.
Woodstock M14, and then they accidentally gave us old M21s. And then they're like,
I mean, that's kind of cool.
They're like, no, you guys can't have that. Here's your M14s back. It's like, fuck.
Can't be Carlos Hathcock.
Yeah. What we found out is that the person who was running the designated marksman program was really looking at the legality. And 7.62 doesn't, out of an M14 that can go automatic, still technically qualifies as an assault rifle. So
nice.
We worked around.
Flip that baby on the fold.
Yeah, so we worked. No, I mean we still did semi, but like we were like, oh, like it was like he wasn't taking a shot out of a sniper rifle. Like he was like defense, So there was that. So we started in OIF, and then we went into New Dawn, and I never experienced what a peacekeeping mission was like up to this point, but like shit was happening, and we were like intermingling with SOI, and so
ooh, that's interesting.
So yeah, so the groups that were in the Ambar province with us eventually were the groups that had become ISIS. So
that was what, Sons of Iraq?
Yes,
at that point?
Sons of Iraq, and then there was AQI. So like we drove by, so like we got the warning from, I think it was Baghdadi, if we weren't out of the country by January 1st, 2012, that then they would start attacking us. So we were doing closeout, and then they would start like doing things to kind of see what our to basically draw a reaction out of us, because they knew the helicopters were not near us. So like the helicopters and all that shit would move, and then if anything were to happen, they would react and fly to us. So It was a really interesting situation. That's eventually what led to the last. So I was on QRF during the last 82nd. Like he was 82nd, but he was like the last dude to die during like official like wartime, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, war in Iraq.
Yeah, so
Where Obama closed it out.
yeah, so I was on that, saw what happened to his vehicle. It was really angering because like you were calling for helicopters to come in and all that, and it's just like trying to get those guys off the ground, and like they did their best. Everyone did their best. It was just like this situation on the way out was just garbage. It, I will say it was handled a lot better than the Afghanistan pullout, but that's
not a high bar.
That's not a high bar to go.
Yeah.
But then like a lot of that stuff was used because Al-Assad was still being used when ISIS was there. So like a lot of that stuff like got brought back to Al-Assad, and it was just like, it was just like they were just sitting there waiting for fucking ISIS to kick off, and then that's where all those stories, with those guys, fucking, that's where everybody was based at. So, Iraq, yeah. So we'd be like on patrol, and there'd be like dudes dressed like ISIS, just out in the fucking reeds, and they would they'd like half-ass hide their AKs behind their back. And like we couldn't do anything because they didn't engage us, and we're like, yo, these dudes are like why are they there? Like they're obviously still using the signals of like releasing birds and shit off of roofs when we drive in, and these guys like just happen to park their fucking tent in like a terrible spot. And like looking back at it, is like we were like, I could reach out and touch these fucking guys. It was like, it's a really weird feeling how like back in the day, like you wouldn't even know like ISIS, like the shit from fucking Archer, like that doesn't sound really fucking crazy, but like then it was like, I was like feet away from ISIS fucking fighters. Is just insane to me. That whole Operation New Dawn was like, it's really frustrating because like I understand why it needed to happen, and the inevitability of ISIS popping out was going to happen whether we were there or not. Like we didn't influence that at all. Like there isn't anybody who could be like, oh well, if we stayed, it's like, nah, dude, the Caliphate was going to fucking pop up whether we were there or not. And
it was just because of what was going on in Syria at the time.
Yeah,
the
man.
Power gap allowed him to fucking.
Yeah, Iraq was like the bummer of my fucking career, like because there was like you wanted to do more but you couldn't because of everything, and it was like, when we did get hit or whatever, we couldn't do there was only so much we could do. Like we couldn't chase them, we could just defend ourselves. And
seems to have improved so far though.
Yeah. I think I just saw something. Oh, that was about Afghanistan. AQI is still popping and popping, but like or ISIS K rather, still hopping and popping, but what was it, ISIS or ISIL? Yeah, they're like not really a thing anymore, which is cool, but
I have loved seeing the articles talking about how Taliban in Afghanistan hate not being in an insurgency anymore and hate dealing with emails and office work and all the
Paperwork.
bullshit that comes with running a country.
Welcome to hell, guys. Welcome to hell. Oh, you're the big dogs in town with all this technology now, and ISIS K has gone fucking low tech like you guys did? Yeah, fucking sucks.
Yeah, man, congratulations. You guys are stuck with Microsoft Office.
Yeah.
Now you know how we felt.
You
for
have
20 fucking
lived
years.
long enough to see yourself become the enemy. Congratulations.
Okay. So I guess moving on, your career between that Iraq deployment and going to selection.
Okay, so I officially got out in 2015. I re-enlisted to go psychological operations because they were like, for the reserves, they're like the coolest gig they got, and they do airborne. So I was like, oh, I can keep airborne pay on top of being a reservist. So during that time, I finished. So before 2015, I finished my first degree, and then while I was off, I got my second degree. And then I was a cell tower climber and technician.
Yeah, they're still looking for those guys. I still get emails all the time where it's
Yeah,
like, "Hey,
dude.
do you want to be a veteran who climbs up fucking towers?"
Oh, and this is my sincerest um, recommendation. If you do that, um, do your best to work for the fucking state or directly for the big names, because subcontractors is really rough, and they try to
Get treated like shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's hard to get like to my employer's credit, like when I was doing my reserve time, and then that's when I kind of started really getting into a nerd hobby that Ian and I are. I don't know about everybody else, but Ian and I are really highly involved and employed in on the side. They kind of just let me do my thing, um, because like trying to work off of that salary and is a fucking nightmare. So they're just like, yeah, dude, whatever you can do to make extra money, like fucking go for it. So I was like, okay, cool. So um they do a really important job. I will say this right now. And the psyop shit that you can kind of get into afterwards, with like the government, it like that is mind fuck.
It's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like you're like literally incepting people into doing shit. The army's kind of like you can only do so many things within legality, and then it just wasn't for me. Like it's the reserves, nothing was happening, and I was like, man, this is not anything like the active side, because like the active side has like special, like I guess special tactics, whatever. I didn't know that, but I guess they do, and all this, and they get all the soft money. But like when you're a reservist, like you don't go to McCall like the actual soft guys do. You go to fucking where is it? Fucking where they keep the gold, Knox. So like you go to Knox and look at PowerPoints for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, ominous dominus, you're a fucking psychological operations specialist. And I was like, dude, this is fucking like.
So you're telling me that Army Psyops E-Girl isn't some special forces operator?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. For everyone out there,
Fantastic.
and this is a little salty thing for me, for other people, just because I've seen it in person, there will be people that I'm like, yo, I'm fucking soft. X, Y, and Z, I do whatever. When somebody hits you with that, ask them if they went to McCall and what time. Because if they didn't go to McCall, you're not. You're not.
You're faker.
You're not Army soft special operations forces, to exclude the 75th. Like if you didn't go to McCall or fucking Cole Range, you don't fuck, you know, or you know wherever the fucking cool guys go, which are very like, okay, cool. Where in Virginia did you go? You know, like they're not real. So there will be people who will claim it. I was not. I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to McCall, and they're like, yeah, about that. You're actually going to Knox. It's like, the fuck? You know, like they don't even have the gold there anymore. It's not that cool. And
The Army
know, I
esports team is
checked.
there now.
huh?
The Army esports team is there now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Be a fucking professional gamer for the Army. So
You can go be a professional gamer who has a green hat and then decides to start an OnlyFans the second he gets out.
hey man, don't knock OnlyFans. Those dudes and chicks are fucking making more money than probably all of us combined. So let's be real. All I gotta
That's
do is
fair.
show my butthole every fucking week or so, like whatever. Like, do it.
Get some long drink in you.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember making this page at all. Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, look, now I'm a millionaire.
Where the fuck did this deposit come from, babe? She's like, don't look at me, dude. I me.
Okay.
Like,
Please.
scream me for that. Oh yeah, bleep that. It's embarrassing. Anyways,
More embarrassing than OnlyFans. Carry on.
whatever. I've told some dudes here at the unit I'm at now, and some of the stuff that they do, like, I've noticed that there are more green floppy hat wearers that are increasingly interested in the nerd hobby, and they're like, you, we'll go down the line and maybe talk about that. You can bleep a whole fucking section, and I can be added to guys that just say things that you don't want to fucking broadcast. But so I did that psyop thing for a few years. So from 2015 in what is it, 2016, I talked to my new commander because he had put out like, "Hey, we're trying to reform this. If you guys don't want to be here, I respect that. Just be a grown up and give me a reason why you want to go somewhere else." So there are a couple people who are just like trying to go to other reserve units, whatever. But I straight was like, "Hey, I don't think this is for me. I want to go SF, active duty." And he was just like, "Sick. Like, let's he's like, go ahead and get the paperwork, he's like, I'll make sure it gets taken care of." So it was really nice having that support because he's like, look, dude, I'm not going to stop you from your career. He's like, that's a great opportunity. And he's like, honestly, it's one of the better fucking, reasons to leave that I've heard out of all the people I want to leave. So, and I did that in 2016. So there's a DA, I forget what the DA is, the paperwork, but so
4187.
no, not a 4187. So I had to. It was a conditional release.
Oh yeah. Okay.
368 or whatever. 368, I think.
I think that's it. Yeah.
So for anyone trying to get out like a conditional release to go to selection, like active from reserves or wherever, you get that fucking shit in as soon as humanly possible because it took me. So I entered it. I entered it in. It was like a year and a half for like, and it had to get 3 signatures. And then like there were people who would kick it back. And then my commander had to go down and like do a ton of shit that convincing and whatnot. It's like, look, this guy doesn't like, he doesn't want to be here. He wants to do like anybody unless your entire command team is super responsive. Like get your 368s in as soon as possible. And don't fucking sleep on that shit at all because like you only get 6 months before it's null and void and you gotta start the whole fucking process over again. And so we did that. My journey, so in my mind, even when I was in the army, I was like, SF, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I'm good enough. There's a fucking 2-year process. So of course, but I was like, oh, I want to be special forces of some sort. So, I, of course, my first instinct was like, hey, let's go over to the Navy and see what I can do over there. Like, oh, I might be able to fucking work that out. So I got turned
Or
away
write
from
you a book.
yeah. So I went talked to a SEAL recruiter. I guess I had spent too much time in the army. They're like, we won't even take you for SWIT boat. And I was like, I was infantry. Like, I can handle fucking machine guns. Like, what the fuck? Like, I can't even like sit on a boat with my thumb. Like, they're like, no.
Ugh, yeah, because you're Army.
Yeah. And then I tried Air Force. I almost got in, honestly.
That's surprising. They fucking very rarely take.
Yeah, so they're running a program now. They're even running another program I just saw, just because I was curious. So they take prior service members as long as like, but you can only go into the special operations community, and you have to be. They're very very stringent on who they pick. The thing is, like slots are so few and far between that like when ones were available it was outside of when that 368 was valid. So like okay, I was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's rip off the band-aid and let's go chase down an army recruiter. So for all you people trying to go SF, if someone says there's not an 18 X-ray slot available, it is literally because they do not want to do the paperwork. Especially prior service guys. There's always 18 X-ray spots. The number of 18 X-rays that do not make it past pre-selection or even get to selection itself is staggering. Like you can do it. Keep like just say you're gonna walk. Most like, and I finally found a dude who was like, I gotta be real. I've never done the paperwork before. You're the first part of service. Like, whatever. Let's fucking do it. Just don't fucking fail. Like, you'll be the first one this office does. Let's not fuck this up. I was like, okay, cool. So like, I had that in the back of my brain on top of like wanting to be better. Going through the queue. So the queue. Um, well, okay. Getting back into the army. Do not sleep on your fucking paperwork when you get there. I almost had to go through basic training again and airborne school
Yeah.
and all that. I had to jump. I did something that'll probably would have probably got me in trouble in retrospect. Went to go talk to a civilian that was there, and they're like, "Oh, you did all this, and it's been less than 3 years. Like, why are you even here?" I was like, "That's a great question." They even made me shave my head. I don't know why. Like, oh well, that sucks. Go. Here are your orders to go. Fucking airborne hold. So I hung out in airborne hold for a while. Didn't go to airborne, and then I got on a bus to go to Bragg. Started digging up a whole bunch of memories I didn't think I wanted to fucking relive. Because 82nd. Selection. So I was not physically ready for that shit. I thought because like I wasn't getting any help. Like when you're going active, you kind of just gotta be a little bit more proactive than I was. But I was also working 2 jobs and I had kids and all that, so I was like trying to work out on my own. Um, squeaked by, squeaked by selection. Almost died on in the star course just because it was really rainy and fucking when you had to cross, I forget the name of the road because I've had too many drinks. And like the star course is just something different. Because like it's really simple land navigation, but the obstacles that North Carolina has created for you is impressive. Scuba Road, fucking Scuba Road. There's a reason why it's called Scuba Road. I was in water up to my fucking eyeballs with my fucking ruck over my head, with my fucking rubber ducks strapped into the back of it, so I didn't lose any of that shit. It's a good fucking time. I recommend it. Just make sure that you're like decently, you have a decent fix on what fucking land nav is. Team week. Me being prior service and being an older guy, there was a lot of pride I had to swallow because there is like you got these kids that are just coming up off the street with their degrees and all sorts of things that have never been in the army and they don't beyond basic training you don't really get that like type of normal. Like if someone's talking to you like you should be talked to in the army, like you and all your friends are fucked up. Like if you gotta stand at parade rest, outside of like when you first show up, like you have done fucked up. So I went back when there was like SUT and all that shit. SUT. Um,
Is that a part of Team Week or no?
no. So after selection, so you got your team week. Um, I'm skipping over shit again. So I got ran over by a fucking apparatus while I was out there. That just happened to be 1,000 pounds. I
Cool.
finished selection with a fractured foot. Had to do the trek. It was about miles. So I was told by the medic, he's like, I'm pretty sure this fucker's fractured. He's like, if you leave now, you're gonna get dropped. He's like, I will be waiting for you at the end of the trek. I will fucking grab you. All you gotta do is beat the time. I was like, okay, fucking sick. So,
Holy shit.
that was an experience. So yeah, my foot was fractured and I had a one of my tendons was like really fucked up too. So I got a little time off for that. Your body's capable of fucking amazing things. Like you learn a lot about yourself during selection. It's a great learning experience, but you know, selection's only a certain amount of days. You know, if you can make it through, you could be like this fucking physical specimen and all this shit, but if you are a dick, the cadre will fucking see it and they'll be like, "Oh, come back and talk to us in a couple years, dude. Go fuck off." You know, like, and then I'm trying to remember any other anecdotes from selection.
Did you ever have a period inside? A lot of guys get asked this, but did you have a period in selection where you're just like, "This is fucking bullshit. I'm just gonna go home."
So yes, but I talked myself out of it. My main concern was like, how am I gonna look my kids in the eyes when they're having hard times?
Yeah.
And be like, yo, don't give up. When I would know that like I fucking quit like 10 days into selection. Like so and then I also was like, look, you're doing this for yourself, dude. Like who knows what fucking day of selection it is. Let's just fucking trudge on. And selection changes like it changes so rapidly what you're doing. It's it's never a dull moment. And honestly, there's so many times during that where you feel like, and I'm gonna really show my fucking army colors right now. Like you're a fucking a sea bag or whatever those fucking green duffel bags are. You know how like when you're doing a packing list and you got to jump on it to get it to fit. That's basically what's happening to you. That's the only way I can really equate it to people. Like that's literally what your brain's like. And it's not overwhelming tasks up until about team week when you're like, okay, see that pile of shit over there? Make it into something that you can drag across a fucking finish line.
How was the rest of your team? Like, did you guys make the challenges, or were you stuck with some losers?
We only had one dude who was like kind of full of himself, but he had like a engineering degree from a really impressive place. And, you know, like, of course, he knew the best way to build apparatuses, and he'd always take control. And in his way, he was like trying to help, but he was just being an asshole, you know, like, and the cadre could see it. And there was one time when, during one of the events that he was like bitching that we didn't listen to him. And I was like, no, we're doing this the fucking wrong way. And I didn't say anything. In retrospect, I wish I would have, but the cadre overheard me fucking not trying to kill this kid. And he's like, so you had the right answer. Why didn't you say anything? And I was like, oh, I didn't want the fucking E4 Mafia to fucking, or the fucking 18 X-Ray Mafia to fucking vote me out, which is a thing.
Because you can get peered.
You can get peered. And, depending on how tribal the 18 X-rays want to get. Like that's it can happen for arbitrary reasons. Other than that though, no, the team was all right from what I can remember. I actually think how long ago was that? Before a jump out here, I ran into a kid that I went through basic and the Q through, and he ended up at my unit, and I was like, oh, dude, like, like that. But it kind of goes with all fucking walks of life in the military. Like, people you go through general suffering with, like, there's like that fucking bond kind of thing where it's just like,
the camaraderie.
yeah, regardless of what the camaraderie was like. So there was that. So after selection, we went to SUT. I'm gonna be skipping over some stuff. It's just the things that I can really like pull out of my memory. So SUT was rough. So the officers were like, "Yo, this is just basically like a really condensed, super full version of Ranger School." So it's just us running around in the woods, regardless of weather, doing ambushes and fucking movement to contact. Just basically all the infantry tasks over and over and over again until our brains bled. And then that was, because it's small unit tactics. So, you're doing infantry tactics, but now it's tac skills. But you're doing all that stuff with the idea that you're doing it with a larger group with a little bit more capability than an infantry unit. So now in tac skills, everybody goes to their MOS training beforehand. So like when you get to tac skills, like the way that they approach it now is like, okay, everybody's like legit trained in all their MOSs. So you're gonna have to go through this, and then you're gonna go into Robin Sage. So, and then you get, you do all your training up front, like Seer and all that shit beforehand. So like you're with that ODA all the way through Sage. I'm sure people are gonna correct me. It's either changed or I'm getting the fucking order mixed up. But that's how I understand it, and I think it's like way smarter. Just because like that's how it is. You get to a team, you're not all the new guys, but like you got to figure out like how to work with everyone's differences and come up with a way to cross train your fucking dudes. And then tac skills is pretty much prepping you to train your guerrilla force during Robin Sage. So I was SUT.
You passed through the queue.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was SUT. The other one was Seer. I was about to say we already talked about that, but we did that before we were recording. So, Seer. That is another place that you get to discover a lot about yourself. Everyone hears stories. Again, it's one of those things where you gotta sign a fucking NDA beforehand, but
otherwise the training just isn't worthwhile for people who have to go through it.
It is. I think it's worthwhile because the amount of stress that you get put through, because it's not all that shit that you saw in G.I. Jane. Like it's not you just getting your ass kicked for the amount of time that they keep you there. You learn a lot of cool. Like they break it up in the acronym. So you got your survival, your resist, escape, and evade shit. So like throughout there, like you'll get training periods throughout that stuff. And learn honestly, there's some skill sets that I wish I still had like a pretty good hold on. The amount of stress that you get put under, for me in particular, it's a lot of shit in perspective. Like things that would get under my skin. Like I feel like I have a lot more patience because like when I'm really feeling it, I'm like, well, at least it's not seer. Like let's. There's so many fucking things that I can kind of equate back to it. The only thing now that I don't really stand for is hunger. So
You eat when you can.
I've
I've
been.
heard there's always someone that names the rabbit that they give you and tries to turn it
Oh
into a
yeah,
pet.
the fucking narcissist. Yeah, dude. You cannot. You cannot. Yeah, we would get rabbits and chickens, and like, um, yeah, there are people who like that was a pass fail event, I guess, and
Don't name the chicken.
don't like do not get attached. Um, yeah, and then you live off of that solely, for X amount of time, and then again, like the you get a new appreciation of what like hunger is really like, and then like I just don't like when I'm hungry. I'm like, okay, cool, like throw a snack down, but like once you start smelling like ammonia and your stomach starts actually seizing up, that's when you're like, okay, cool, like maybe I need to pay attention to this. But yeah, again, you'll learn a lot about your body under extreme stress during that. So it's a pretty good course to get to. Honestly, I don't know why there aren't more interactive seers for units that like their general purpose, airborne units, is to get thrown behind enemy lines and then just like figure it out. Seer 101, which is a video game, is not adequate.
Oh, the online training?
Yeah.
I've taken that 4 times.
Yeah, the one that's basically the beginning of the first Iron Man movie, just put in army, like boring army terms. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, dude. I don't like if your unit is poised to go behind enemy lines and not duke it out face to face. Like, I feel like everyone should go through some sort of physical training because like getting slapped by a fucking South Park character online, as opposed to actually feeling what actual duress is like. It's not the same. So, without giving things away anymore, that's pretty much all I can say about Seer. And then the next memorable thing was Robin Sage. Fucking awesome time. They dedicate a huge swath of land to it. It's not like you're not on brag when it's happening.
It's like it spans multiple counties, doesn't it?
Multiple states.
Wow.
That's fucking
Damn.
awesome.
Yeah, and
It's like a giant LARP event.
yeah, so that's how you can kind of surmise it. So like there are a bunch of towns, especially in North Carolina, that like it goes out on the news. They're like, hey, there's gonna be dum-dums running around town, getting into shootouts. Call the cops. The cops are generally on top of if it's real or not. I remember traveling down a town that's not too far from McCall, in a high-speed chase, shooting out the back of a truck at another truck, and just seeing, like, I remember looking over in the middle of the firefight, I guess if you want to call it, between us exchanging blanks, the numb expressions on the townsfolk that we were ripping by at super high speeds. They're just like, like,
Damn it, that time of year
just
again.
like, fuck,
Man, this
they're
is a
back.
school zone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, like the unconventional warfare side of things that you learn. Pretty cool. They really hammer home the basics, which I can talk about how much they probably need to update certain things, just to kind of mirror current threats. Which again, I'm not there. I don't know if they have or haven't. But UW is such an important important skill set, and it is perishable. Talk to those former SF dudes that got caught in, what was that? Fucking
Venezuela.
Venezuela, yeah. There is a way to brutally fail.
Well, is there anything in unconventional warfare training talking about tweeting at the president publicly about the secret op you're doing as you're doing it, like those
There
guys
is.
did?
That is unfortunately TTP that was not taught. I don't know if they were just
There's
like,
the mistake.
there's no in the principles of UW, online trolling is not one of them. So yeah. But
You can't make an internet funny and then expect to succeed.
JK. But yeah, so Sage it is literally a giant LARP event. You learn a ton of stuff. And it's impressive how they can literally check your scoreable boxes when you're doing all the things. And they don't drive you there. Some people jump in, some people get rat lined in, and some people walk.
What's a rat line?
So a rat line. So when you're getting into a denied area through the use of partner forces. So like you're getting smuggled in basically without giving too much away.
It's like how the Vatican got the Nazis out during World War II.
Kind of, yeah, but reverse. So
Hey, you can't talk about that.
And less racism, allegedly. Yeah, kind of the same way. So, and that practice goes all the way back to when, like the Green Berets were the OSS and how they were getting into occupied France. They jump in, meet up with locals, and then they get brought into different forms of either resistance movements or whatnot, and they just create absolute fucking chaos with partner force. So there's a lot of principles that were created during when the OSS was trying to fucking kick the Nazis out that still hold true to today. And then there's a lot of and then they really started learning again during Vietnam, and then COIN during the Global War on Terror really helped. But again, like now we're going back to UW in the guise of, okay, we're not doing this against another insurgent force. We're doing this against, a rogue government or some shit like that. So that's the type of stuff they're trying to relearn and really focus on again. At least that's, what I read. So when I read that, it was before Russia just decided to fucking plow through Ukraine, which is, not going well for Russia, but honestly,
I expected it to be over so fucking quickly.
everyone
yeah.
did. Everyone
But
did.
watching, like I was talking to some Green Beret buddies of mine who had actually, like, prior to the invasion, they had deployed and like trained Ukrainians off, and they were seeing like videos that were coming out. They were like, "Yeah, they're doing what we taught them."
Yeah.
After spending years trying to teach people how to do jumping jacks, seeing people actually put what you taught them into place must be pretty rad.
Yeah, I mean, but that happens when you're with any partner force, and when you see them actually do it, like doing it, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna fall in love with these motherfuckers. It's not great.
You're like a proud dad at a fucking
Yeah.
soccer game.
Yeah, so
Way to go, son.
yeah. It's enough to make a dad cry. Get back in there, tear. So that was Sage. So after Sage, there was language. So after Sage, you graduate. You do your beret ceremony. And then you go to language, That's a 6-month ordeal.
Is it out in Monterey?
No, so the pipeline has theirs out at Bragg. They got a brand new facility, and so you're there. I learned my language, ironically, through Discord during COVID. So that was fun. But yeah, they so you can go to Monterey, but like when you come back from Monterey, they send you there for a year. And they're like, that's when you're like going for like I'm gonna be real with myself. I'm a 1+1+ guy. Like I'm the enough to get paid speaker. But there are guys who go to Monterey that like come back and they're like in the threes. And
Well, it's always great hearing the barely functional like French or Spanish speakers.
Yeah. So it's and it was like, oh, I'm finally gonna get to practice this with fucking partner forces, and he was telling me like, oh yeah, you're gonna use surprisingly a lot of places, and I get to fucking get to Germany, and not a goddamn person like they get angry like viciously angry.
Offended that you would dare.
They're like, oh, benzene? You want benzene? It's like, yeah, dude, I just want fucking gas. It's like, just say you want gas, English. It's like, fuck. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I'm glad I fucking spent all that time learning a fucking foreign language so I can speak English in fucking Finland and Poland. I guess when you go to like other places like for the and other places like that, it was pretty regular that you'd be able to utilize it. But like right now with the climate, it's just like in some places you really run the risk of fucking offending the partner force if you're like, oh, it's like,
how different is from you language wise?
I have no idea. I've never been. I guess there are some similarities, but if you inform your foreign speaker that not much different from that is a ill-advised is a ill-advised path to take when you're trying to fucking sham out of your refresher at and just take the goddamn DLPT. Finnish is its own goddamn thing. Polish is its own goddamn thing. So I didn't really get, and then the Germans, they will just speak English to you. I mean, they all will, but the Germans are just like, let's not, like let's just fucking train and let's stop this silliness, which is fine, like that's why we're there. Like we're not there to be like, oh, listen how good I can fucking brutalize
butcher your language.
Yeah, butcher this fucking language that you're not very fond of right now, anyways. I mean, not, so after your 6 months of language, then you sit around and wait to get sent to your duty station. I got deferred for like half a fucking year.
God damn.
Because of COVID. And
yeah, that checks out actually.
Well, it wasn't like, it was almost half a year. It was like, well,
were you like done with the queue by the?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, were you done with the queue by the time COVID kicked off?
I was done with the queue, and I had just gotten to language, and then we were hearing about this new mystery virus that was just like fucking people up over in China, and we're like, that must be crazy for them, right? Like, thank God it's not happening over here. And then, long story short, the too long didn't read. It fucking happened over here. So, yeah. So waiting around, and then we were under lockdown when we got here to. Yeah, I mean, and then there was a whole, you gotta take these injections or you're gonna get kicked out of the army thing. Now that's not a thing anymore. Which, whatever, I'll fucking, I mean, for people freaking out in the military, of all places, about a COVID vaccine, with all the other shit that they tell us that we have to get fucking injected to our bodies, I found it comical. I was like, dude, they pumped you full of fucking anthrax not too long ago. Why are we having this fucking
Yeah.
conversation right now?
I had like a list of different. I was going to deploy as a contractor, and I had a list of different fucking vaccines that I needed to get on my own time.
Yeah.
For that specific AOR, and it was extensive.
Yeah.
And it was shit that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's shit that like the local like Passport Health, where they just give you like travel vaccines. They're like, what? You need that?
Yeah.
That hasn't been given. We haven't given one of those in 7 years.
Right. Yeah. They're like, you do realize you're going to Europe, right? Like yellow fever. Really?
Exactly.
Like, so without getting into the politics of that, I was like, okay, cool. Like all the people they kicked out, that like it's not even that big of a deal anymore, but like have that mark on their fucking thing that they can't get back in. It's like, why are we doing this?
Are they barred from reenlistment?
Yeah.
Damn.
The people that got out, yeah. So I think from what I heard, the people that got forced out during that time, they can't come back. There were other people that were barred from reenlistment when they didn't get it, and then like they were riding the lightning until they were like, I guess we don't need it anymore. So like, cool, right? It's like,
so at the 11th hour, they were given a reprieve, basically.
it was like the 11. It was 11:55, my man. So, yeah. Then after that, so I was on in my first company when I showed up during that time. They were deployed. I originally was on a mobility team, and then had some stuff come up at home, so that kind of kept me from deploying on that first one. So they made a deal with me where I could get my B team time out of the way. So like for the reason why I had to do B team time, everybody has to fucking do it eventually. You have to give a year. So they were just like, dude, like we'll just count everything that you've done so far since you've been on Rear D, since you've got here. We'll just count it as your B team time, and we'll just fucking like you've been doing all the B team Bravo stuff anyways. So like, just continue on.
And what are the differences between an A team and a B team?
So an A team is the actual like ODAs. So like you'll have your 6 ODAs per company, and they'll per regular company. So there's 2 types of companies right now. So like a regular line company will have six teams, and they're the deployable teams. B team is still deployable, but they do more administrative stuff. So your A teams, you'll have your fucking mobility team, which is like the vehicle guys, or it's just like, and sometimes they'll get treated like they'll get treated like a direct action team. Then you'll have your free fall teams, which are generally like your reconnaissance dudes. Because and that's where your snipers will fucking like there will be more snipers typically on those. And then you'll have your dive teams, which I was on a dive team at one point, getting ready for it, and then I got an opportunity to go where I am currently, and I figured I didn't want to get drowned for the army anymore, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll try this other thing because it sounds kind of cool. And then so yeah, mobility, Halo teams, dive teams, mountain teams, which mountain teams, like in all the teams based on like their jobs, like they'll the importance given to certain teams based on AOs also kind of differs. Like our dive team is pretty fucking sick where I'm at, but like in our AO, mountain teams and mobility teams are like a pretty big deal. not only for like the type of stuff that we have access to here, but like a dive team with the AO of South America might get a lot more attention than their fucking mountain team because like
or
why?
Paycom especially.
Yeah. Um. So I pretty much so with those different teams. So like there'll be like 2 mobility teams, dive team, mountain team, fucking Halo, and then they'll throw a line like a regular DA team in there or something like that. So but like some places there will be 2 fucking mountain teams, or again, it's just all AO dependent on what kind of gets like focused on. So, so that's a regular line company, and then you have, I mean, it's not a secret what they are anymore. They got fucking posted on Instagram. It's the fucking the new Criff. Those guys, their main focus is obviously direct action and special reconnaissance, which is one of the one of the focuses for like SF. So like there's a bunch of different mission sets that SF focuses on. It's just like this is a more high threat, critical, direct action focused deal. It's not like how Criff was, like where we were kind of stepping on like overstepping CAG's fucking deal, but like now I think the way, and obviously I can't fucking dive too much more into it, but I think the way that they're kind of focusing on maximizing the capabilities of a very well trained set of Green Berets with the it's like you're utilizing the Green Beret mission, but you're working with a lot of high level partner force as opposed to like going out and finding a regular partner force that you would deal with, and the way that we're attacking future problem sets is it's pretty cool.
So you're not training Magumbe on how to fix an AK.
No. If anything, it's getting to a point to where we all are on the same sheet of music, tactics wise, so that if we get into a situation where we need to, or where they need to forward deploy those guys, you have high level partner forces that are going to go into the fray with you, that are on almost the same sheet of music, TTP and SOP wise.
So these are the guys that would be actively going out with ANASOC rather than just training regular ANA.
Yeah, basically,
just,
yeah.
In terms of Afghanistan, yeah.
Yeah. So, and generally, like, it wouldn't be just the regular SOC dudes. It'd be like their fucking counterterrorism cell of that. Like, they're fucking, like, they're diehard for the country dudes that are on the tip of their fucking spear for, combating whatever the biggest threats are in their AO, basically, is kind of the gist of what, like, like we would be doing. Because, like, any ODA can work with, like, ANASOF or whatever, like, it's when you have those other guys that are already, like, at that, like, they're highly trained, but, like necessarily, dealing with working with partner forces all the fucking time, but that's our fucking bread and butter. So they're like, cool, go do stuff with those guys, basically, is I think is as far, that's like the tip of the iceberg. And what I talked to you guys earlier about, but yeah, so that's basically kind of like the gist. They're trying to be, I think with just like the way that everything's kind of changing all over JSOC and SOCOM, they're trying to like not make it to where like people are overlapping in duties, because like,
yeah,
like it's fucking pointless, and people, you end up spending SOCOM money on units that never get used.
Yeah.
So
we're getting to about 2 hours here.
Jesus
So do you
fucking
want to
Christ.
just, yeah, do you want to just like wrap it up here? Maybe tell like a quick little funny story and then call it there, and then come
Oh,
back for a part 2 at some point.
yeah, sure. Okay, so back in my 82nd days, so we do these things. It's kind of like an MLAT, but for Ranger Bat, but a lot less cool. So like here is TV3, like private first class Greg jumping into JRTC in Louisiana. The box, everybody fucking knows about this place. It's where, you know, you go, you're basically playing laser tag for a month. So we're jumping in. So on the airfield in the whole AO, there used to be a cavalry unit out there. And when it was disbanded back, I forget when, they let the horses loose. This is like a true cavalry unit. So like there are wild horses on this fucking place. So we
They have
jump,
goats too.
yeah. So there's wild horses. There's fucking boars that'll chase you up fucking trees. There's alligators, or crocodiles, whatever the fuck they're down there. But anyways,
It's a PvP zone.
yeah. So we hit the ground. I'm packing up my chute. I'm like, oh, cool. Like I did a, whatever jump. I'm the coolest fucking guy ever because I'm, private first class and I don't know how fucking ridiculous this is going to be. So I hear a dude fucking screaming. Like he is screaming bloody murder. At the same time, I'm hearing a fucking wild horse going batshit crazy. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, the horse is fucking killing this guy. Like I'm this dude landing near a horse and is fucking straight up murdering him. So I start freaking out because I've never seen a wild fucking horse or what they're fucking capable of. So I start panic packing my chute into my bag. And in the fucking tall grass I'm surrounded by, I hear a fucking, just a long one. And I'm like, I freeze. And like in my mind at that moment, I'm taken back to the second Jurassic Park where they're running away from the velociraptors in the tall grass. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm about to get murdered by a fucking horse in the thing. So I just forget my shit, forget my parachute, grab my ruck, and I'm just running to there's some markers that they use when they're coordinating fucking where you're supposed to be, and I just book it. So that's kind of like my funny reaction to it. So what had happened was, it's kind of a mix of funny and fucked up. This kid broke his pelvis
Ooh.
when he landed, but to add insult to injury, his parachute had landed on top of a horse, and the horse was dragging him across the fucking drop zone.
No.
Oh no.
It was fucking pandemonium. So the guy was fine, obviously. He, from what we heard,
minus his pelvis.
but like just imagine the level of shit luck you have to, like, first of all, this guy finds the only fucking crazy hard patch on a drop zone, doesn't PLF or parachute landing fall correctly, breaks his fucking shit, probably gets the wind knocked out of him, and then realizes that there was an angry fucking horse under his fucking parachute, and he doesn't know which way this is gonna go, but then that angry horse decides to run in the opposite direction as him. And like, just, it was a domino effect that like you couldn't write this shit. But yeah, I thought I was gonna get like, like a fucking velociraptor horse fucking jumping out of the fucking reeds at me and, eaten alive by what those things are just they're so laissez-faire about your presence. They're just like, oh, they're like, they'll run through your fucking patrol bases and like, try to collect unit patches. Basically, that's how fucking units go. So, but yeah, that's all that's like the funniest thing I can think of that comes to mind outside of my drinking story in Finland. Which I don't know if we had during the reporting, but
we did. Yeah.
We did.
Sick.
Yeah,
So
we did.
yeah, between like losing probably a good 6 hours of my life and then thinking I was gonna get eaten by a fucking horse, those are the ones I can really bring to mind at this current moment. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. It was a fucking 2-hour process, but yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank
much for
you.
coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Surprisingly, less editing is going to have to take place than the last
I
podcast, so
tried
that's
my
good.
hard. After
That's
the
all right.
first slip up, I was like, I should probably stop drinking these long drinks and fucking just get my act together.
Get a repeat.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if like drinking these many long drinks makes me a lightweight, but like, hey, whatever. Like, cool.